What's up, guys? We're here with Mr. Landon Elmore, the reigning EBI champion, and today we're just going to look at some basic things in the standing position that can be used from white belt all the way until ADCC champion level. Understand that when we're talking about grappling arts, the most important thing and the first thing that happens is gripping. Right? If I'm on the ground and I can't touch him, then I can't obviously attack him. And so the person who makes the first grips and dominates the gripping exchanges will likely dominate the match. And so we're just going to look at basic things in the standing position, which allow us to number one, stop us from getting taken down immediately, just stop the guy from just grabbing two legs and putting us down. And then just ways to just subtly dominate the grip fighting exchange and start pulling on my partner's head, getting to underhooks, arm drags, things like this, where we can dominate some of the gripping exchanges, and just talk about, some of the basic things that we need for wrestling in the standing position in the sport of Jiu Jitsu, because obviously the scoring criteria is very different. It's not freestyle wrestling, it's not collegiate wrestling, it's not judo, it's not Greco-Roman. Obviously the scoring criteria is different, there's submissions, so everything is a lot different in the standing position in our sport versus the other sports. And so we're just gonna look at some of the basic things we need to keep us safe and to start attacking our partners. Now understand, because of the fact that the pacing is very different and the match lengths are very different and there's submissions, that the stances are going to be much different. I won't be in a wrestling stance for a 10, 15, 20 minute long match where we're both here and we're both down low. It's too tiring of a position. So we're gonna be standing relatively upright in these positions, more so like a judo stance. So when I go to engage someone from here, we're just gonna start walking in and we're gonna come up in a relatively upright stance. Now, the big mistake that people make using upright stances, and I was guilty of this for the longest time, is they get in the habit of reaching, okay, where they don't really have a good, tight, traditional wrestling stance, and they're here, and they just get caught up reaching where that's like, man, I want to touch this guy, I want to make my grip, and they just walk forward and they start reaching towards the guy. If I start reaching towards the guy from a distance where I can't touch him yet, we're kind of in this gray area, right, where if I'm so far away, like here, I'm so far away that he won't be able to shoot on me without me having, ample time to react. Here, now if he goes to shoot on me, I can feel him physically and I can react. Okay, I only have hands on him. But until we actually have contact, we're kind of in this gray area where he's close enough to shoot on me, but I'm not close enough to really make a meaningful connection. So if I'm walking towards him and I try to reach and I have my hands up, he can just beat my hands, go right underneath my head position, and he can get right to my legs, and he's in on my legs, and he can just run through two legs and put me down, okay? So when I go to walk towards a guy, now this obviously gets more complicated with stances, okay? He can have right foot forward, I can have right foot forward, he can have left foot forward, I can have left foot forward, it can be right versus right, left versus left, things can change. But the main thing is that when you go to tie up with someone, the first thing you want is to make sure your legs are protected, right? So we can do this with head position, okay, where I go to walk towards him, and if his head is lower than mine, I can match head height. Okay, now the issue with this is that if he's shorter than you, which a lot of my opponents are, not most of them, but a lot of them are, and I try to match head height in a longer match, it ends up with us both being crouched over in this tiring wrestling position where I'm in a half squat for long amounts of time. So instead of matching head position, my favorite thing to do is just to use down block hands. Now we can use a down block hand with the lead hand or with the rear hand. It doesn't make a difference, right? If at any point I go to reach, let's say I use a lead hand down block, if he goes to shoot on me, he comes onto the down block hand. And we can immediately transition in and start going into bare minimum sprawls and preferably counterattacks, okay? If I go to start using a rear hand down block hand and he goes to start shooting, he only has access to one of my legs. And if he has access to one of my legs, it's no problem, because the takedowns in our sport don't actually score. He can put my butt to the floor, there's no score unless he controls me for 3 minutes or for 3 seconds. So all this does is it will give him the ability to of course, reach my front leg, but now I can start putting body weight on him. Now I can start threatening him with submissions. Now we can start hitting kimuras, guillotines. I can start attacking his legs from here. I can roll into all kinds of attacks right from here and put body weight on him the whole time. The worst case scenario is he puts me down to my butt and I spring back up and we're in a scrimmage now, okay? So you can down block with either hand, The main function of the down block is to make sure he doesn't have access to two of my legs where he can legitimately put me down and control me. So I walk forward while we're in this gray area, and I can match him with head height, or I can stop him with down block hands. So if at any point I go to start reaching for him and he goes to shoot on me, now I have my connection. Or if I go to start reaching for him and he goes to shoot on me, now we have our connection and we're ready to go, okay? So we always have down block hands in place until we're actually ready to make connection, all right? So if I go to walk towards him and I have my down block hand in place and I make my initial connection, okay, let's say we go forward, we're walking towards each other and he ties up on my hand, just here, okay? Now I have a connection. So now when the hand comes up, if Landon goes to shoot, he only has one hand to do so, and it makes things a lot easier from here. And so we just climb up the body. What we don't want is to walk towards the guy and reach, and then he just shoots and beats me from here, okay? So I try to climb incrementally up the body. So when we go to walk towards the guy, as he goes to start touching me, okay, now I have a connection, and now from here, when he goes to start beating me, now we can form our connection, and now we can go to work and start playing our game right from here. All right, so when I go to walk towards the guy, the first thing is stop him from immediately just blast doubling me and put me down. Either match him at the head height and have hands up like so, or you can forsake, you can give him the ability to beat you at the head, but we need a down block hand. And then it's just about making contact. So as he goes to walk forward and make contact with me, I just make contact, and now we can tie up, and now I have the grips that I want right from here, okay? So as you'll see this in competition, where I just walk at guys, he goes to tie up, he goes to make connection, and now I have what I want. He goes to walk forward, we're playing here. Now I have what I want, okay? Once I have connection, the number one thing that I'm looking to make sure of is that I have grips where I can off balance him, and he doesn't have grips which can off balance me. Okay, obviously easier said than done, but I'm trying to create an asymmetrical position where I can attack him, but he can't really attack me. And the best way to do this is to have the inside position and be on his head and not have him on my head. Okay, so one of the number one positions that we can be in is a situation where I have a collar tie from here and some kind of inside position on his opposite hand. So now, or hand and arm. So now when he goes to put weight on me, goes to grab a hold of my head, it's gonna be hard. If he goes to shoot on me, he gets beat every time, okay? And so we kind of can create a little series here where we can cover distance, we can get a connection, and we can get to the guy's head, okay? So as we go to walk in and we just play a game, we're right in here. Now I have a control of his head. When he goes to strip the grip and get control of my head, it's gonna be hard. And we can just pull ourselves into various different positions where now we can come through and go into all of our attacks. And so understanding that the gripping is going to win you the exchanges, whether you're on the ground or whether you're standing, will make everything a lot easier. Okay, just as you always try to win the gripping exchanges down on the floor, you're always trying to win the gripping exchanges on the feet as well. So just work into situations where I first stop him from taking me down, and we just tie up and we get to a good attacking position on our partner's upper body. Okay, if he comes in and maybe he beats me, he gets a grip on me. Okay, now it's how do I strip this grip and pummel back to the inside position where now we can go in and go into all of our attacks. So hopefully it's helped you guys out. I know wrestling can be very foreign and strange for a lot of jiu-jitsu guys, but super important to learn at some point. And the number one thing you just want to make sure of is that you don't just walk towards the guy with like no stance and just immediately get taken down every time. So hopefully it's helped.